board a plane on my way to Iraq. My first convoy into Iraq was May. When I got up to the border, there's a base called Navistar. I locked and loaded my M249 squad automatic weapon and put my Kevlar on, my flak vest on. I went up to the border. And on the border, there's a concrete barrier. And on that concrete barrier says, "Beware of children and roadway." That's because as soon as you cross the border into Iraq, there's kids. Kids that are no higher than this. That are willing to jump on a semi-truck to get food and water. And I thought, "Whoa! These are the kids I'm going to help. Get rid of this terrible dictator and provide humanitarian relief and build a democracy." But those kids were still on the side of the road 6 months later. And those kids were still on the road at the side of the road 9 months later, and 12 months, and 13 months, and 14 months, and 15 months later. On my last convoy out of Iraq, my squad leader, Sergeant Holland, he cried for 3 hours, asking, what have we been doing? What have we done? That's a question I've been dealing with for a long time. What have I done? So I came home, and I wanted to start standing in solidarity and starting fighting for peace and get my brothers and sisters home. I joined Iraq Veterans Against the War. I started speaking out. In 2009, I had the opportunity to go back to Iraq. But this time I didn't go back as a soldier. I went back as a member of Iraq Veterans Against the War. And I went with the machinists, and I went with U.S. Labor Against the War, and the teachers, and a whole bunch of other unions from around the world. They came together at the first International Labor Conference in Erbil, Iraq. And that's where I heard the story of the oil workers in Iraq and the fact that they stood up for their rights and they kicked Halliburton out of their factories and out of their refineries. And I heard the story of the electrical workers in the center part of the state who stood in solidarity with their communities and said, "We're not going to let our power plant go down to this occupation. We're going to stand up and take care of our power plant. We're going to keep making it work." And they did direct action, and the government called them and said, "You got to stop. You're pissing off the U.S. military." And they said, "No, this is for our communities, our families, and we're not going to stop. We've seen what's happened to other power plants. They didn't stop." And you know what? The U.S. military left. I heard these stories and I was humbled. And then I had the opportunity to speak at this conference with all these humbling folks. They don't have cell phones, and they're organizing this massive union movement in Iraq. A union movement that's illegal because Paul Bremer in 2003 carried over Saddam's laws, a dictator's laws. That's what I was a part of fighting for when I was over in Iraq, a dictator's laws. When I spoke, I said I was here in your country and I was part of oppressing your communities. And for that, I'm sorry. But I'm here to take responsibility. After I said that, a man got up in the back of the crowd of the stage and he started yelling in Arabic, and I didn't know what he was saying. And he started walking up towards the stage, and I was listening to the translation and waiting for it to come in. And I thought, okay, well, this is it. This is what I deserve. Maybe he's going to punch me or something. I don't know. And the man come up on the stage, and as he's coming up on the stage, I hear the translation come through, and all he said was, "I want to come up on stage and give these two gentlemen a hug." That's solidarity. And that's why we're out here together. We're here to connect what's going on in Iraq, what's going on in Egypt, what's going on with our brothers and sisters in arms, with what's going on right here in Wisconsin, and the union busting that's happening right here. And that's why we call this rally. But the veterans called this rally, and we don't have a big union backing us, helping us pay for this and funding this rally, so we need your help. Our members are going around collecting donations, and we really need a lot of help to help pay for this stage and this sound equipment. It costs a little bit over $3,000 to pay for it, and any bucks that you can throw in to help us make this happen. As you know, veterans we have the highest homelessness rate, we have the highest unemployment rate. But we're here because we want to stand in solidarity with you. So help us out and throw a little dollars in the bucket. Thank you. Stand down. Stand down. Stand down. I had the pleasure of introducing one of the founding members of Iraq Veterans Against the War, Kelly Doherty.
Thank you.
Hi, well, it's great to to be here in Madison today. My name is Kelly Doherty. I served in the Colorado Army National Guard for 8 years as a medic, and I did a year in Iraq as a military police sergeant from 2003 to 2004. And 8 years ago today, I was hunkered down with my gas mask on and my chemical suit and my multiple weapons while Scud missiles came into Kuwait because the U.S. had launched its invasion against Iraq, and shortly after that I went into Iraq and spent the next year there. My experience there left me so dismayed and angry and ultimately heartbroken about what we were doing to the people of Iraq and to our own soldiers that when I got home I helped to form Iraq Veterans Against the War. And 7 years later, we're here, we're strong, and we're still fighting. We're calling on an end to the occupations of Iraq and Afghanistan, rights and benefits for our veterans, and reparations and dignity for the people of Iraq and Afghanistan. We know that veterans are workers, and workers' rights are human rights. And if we don't stand up for them, they will be taken away from us just like we're taking them away from the people of Iraq and Afghanistan. And I wanted to say that when we first started 7 years ago, we were focused on Iraq. Over the years, our perspective has broadened. We built relationships with people across the country in many different movements. And what I see right now is that if we don't make the connection between spending billions of dollars in foreign occupations and not having any money here at home to provide basic services, education, and community building efforts in our own country, we need to make those connections that human rights, economic justice, environmental justice, and social justice are all tied together, and that's how we're going to win this fight, is making those broader connections and having a big perspective. And I'm from Denver, Colorado, and watching all of you with people from Wisconsin out in Madison day after day showing that you weren't going to let the government and corporations walk all over you was so inspiring to me. And watching videos of my brothers and sisters in Iraq Veterans Against the War addressing people right here in the Capitol building was so inspiring. That's why I came out here. So thank you so much for letting me be a part of you guys today here in Wisconsin. And I want to say that everybody, hold your heads high. You are public workers. Hold your heads high. You should be proud of yourselves. We're all proud of you. You're inspiring people all across the country. Thank you very much. Solidarity.